Hi, everybody. This is Maggie,
And I'm Penny.
and welcome to Gen X Living Life. And today we are doing a special episode called Gen X Living Life Retro. And we are going to talk about the year that Gen X was born, 1965. Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover for 1965 are the noteworthy news events of the day. Basically, we're going to start with who was president of the United States way back when? Well, that would be Lyndon Baines Johnson, and he was inaugurated as president in January of 1965. Also, Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement was well underway. The start of the Vietnam War, the space race is well underway. We started with the Gemini space program. The Cold War is in full swing. The Gateway Arch in St. Louis, Missouri had opened in 1965. Beatlemania and the British invasion. Well, the Beatles arrived in 1964, but that ushered in the floodgates for Beatlemania and the New York City blackout.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't personally experience it live, but my mother was pregnant with me at the time. This happened November 9th,
Yeah, I think it was around rush
1965.
hour, right? So there were
It
a lot
was
of
around
people.
rush hour. People were coming home from work. It was the evening, and being November, got dark early. And so it was all the street lights were out,
Mm.
everybody's apartment lights were out. So it was mayhem and a standstill of the city.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom was actually, she had just gone into the train station and the lights went out. So she just went right back upstairs. It was the first blackout for the city. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
The next blackout didn't come,
the
I think, until
70s.
1970s. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one
So
well. It was the
I
summer.
wasn't there. Yeah, it was in the
Where?
summer. We were on vacation. We were in
Ah,
Florida.
oh, wow.
We missed it.
You're so lucky. I just remember being super hot and we were
I
looking for
imagine.
water and people had the stores increased the price on water. And
That's
it came,
crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. And I remember going down 6 flights of stairs, coming back, and my mom was like, "Where's the water?" I said, "Mom, it was so expensive. I didn't have enough money to buy water."
Yeah.
So she gave me
That's
more
nuts.
money and I went and got some. Yeah.
Oh, wow. You poor
I
thing.
was
So
like
you
10
were
years
running around
old.
the city trying to find water. Yeah, you were
Yeah,
about 10 years
yeah,
old.
yeah. And this another thing we want to talk about too is cars, which I love to talk about cars.
Oh, okay.
So many classic cars. You remember James Bond, his cars,
Yep.
Aston Martin. It was invented in 1965.
Sexy car.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. It's a beautiful car.
Yep.
Also the Shelby Cobra, right?
Yep.
It's a roadster. It was based off a Ford V8 engine,
Mhm.
right? Cadillac DeVille, another classic. Um,
Yep.
also, the Toyota. They had a pickup back then, 1965. It was called the Stout,
Oh,
way back when. Yeah.
cute little thing.
Yeah, yeah. And then also the Volkswagen Beetle. You know, in Mexico, they call them belly buttons. You know
I
why?
didn't know that. Oh, 'cause
Because,
it looked like an Audi?
no, because everyone has one. So
Good.
that's pretty cute, right? So even back in the day, the cars had music in them in the form of 8-track tape.
Oh,
Th
that's right.
those
8-track
big,
tapes. I
yeah,
remember those.
and they were in cars. So the Ford Motor Company was the first one to actually put it in their cars with the luxury cars and also the Ford Mustang.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Mustangs. Wow.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that was a great invention. And actually, 1965 has some great inventions.
Yeah, my dad had a collection of 8-track tapes. In fact, he still has a few. Of course,
Really?
he doesn't have the 8-track player anymore, but he still has the tape. They're
That's
all
so funny.
Spanish music, though.
That's great. Those are probably worth a lot of money.
Probably,
Yeah.
if you could play them. I mean.
Right, right, right. Well, one of the most iconic inventions in 1965 was the lava lamp, right?
Yes,
When you
the
think of,
lava lamp. So it started in
yeah, so
1965?
when you see a lava lamp, you think 60s. So
That's
it's
it. It's
perfect.
iconic.
Yes, iconic 60 symbol, So some things we use today, which we didn't realize were invented in 1965, is the handheld calculator. Believe it
Which
or
is
not.
now which is now on your phone
Right. Yeah, it's not even
or
a
on your
separate item. It's all in your phone. But back then, in 1970, calculators were very expensive. Anywhere from $395 to $795. Can you believe that?
for a
For a
calculator.
calculator.
Yeah.
It was a big
That's
deal back then.
now you could get them for 99 cents.
Yeah, that's right. Or they're just on your phone, like you said. You don't even have to, it just comes with
Right.
it. Yeah.
Now, I
Or,
don't even
yeah.
think you can buy them anymore. I don't
All
know.
right. Or you could just use your brains.
You could, but why?
I don't trust myself. Even though I'm Asian, with simple math, I still use the calculator.
When we went to school, we were never allowed to use a
Right.
calculator.
It was like cheating.
It was yeah, they well, I think maybe teachers didn't know how to use them.
You think so?
I'm
Well,
wondering if maybe they didn't know how to teach you how to use them or something like that. But then again, they really wanted you to figure it out on your own
yeah.
because you need to know the fundamentals on how to do the equation because you gotta do that equation on the calculator.
Right, right. And some people couldn't afford calculators. Not everybody could. So I guess it was an unfair advantage if you think about it too.
Even though those scientific calculators that you need in high school,
Yeah.
they're still expensive.
They're over $100. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember buying that for my son.
Me I was fortunate, my boss's son had just graduated high school, when my oldest son
uh,
was entering high school, and so I said, "I'll buy the calculator from you," and he says, "You know what? You can have it." So he gifted it to me.
that's so nice. Yeah.
That was really nice. He goes, "He's not gonna need it anymore."
Right.
So, I appreciated that very
It was
much.
really nice. Another invention in 1965 that we still use today and was a really important invention is Kevlar. You've heard of
Yep,
that?
Kevlar. Yeah,
Yeah, they use it in motorcycle gear for safety, car parts, space rockets.
and, don't forget, it's critical for the use of, safety vests and bulletproof vests for the
That's right.
police and for the military.
Can you imagine? Yeah, it's a great
That's a
invention.
very, very important protective gear.
And another one that I really love is the soft serve ice cream truck, like
Who
Mr.
doesn't love
Softy.
soft serve ice cream?
Yeah, the best, the best.
The best. You remember Mr. Softy in New York?
Yeah, they still have it, and they have
They
it here in
do?
California too. There's actually a place
Really?
in Ventura.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
wow.
little far, and you can actually rent the truck to come to your party.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Those were it was close to the last day of school when the Mr. Softy truck would
Yes, you
stop in
hear
front of
it,
school.
the song. Yeah.
Ah, so exciting. Those days.
Yeah. Oh, memories, great
That
memories.
was the sounds of happiness.
Yeah, and they taste so good. I brought my son to the Well, he's had it in New York too, but the flavor with the cone is just so good.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it took you way back
Yeah.
to your childhood.
It did. It did. I know. Another invention actually made by McLaren is a collapsible stroller. I,
Oh,
I guess they
okay.
never had those, and I did not know this. I had a McLaren stroller for my son because it was the very easy to use and fold well. But they also make race cars.
Oh, yeah? I didn't know that. My husband probably would know about
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
don't know anything about that.
Another pastime we had was watching TV
Yeah, that's another great
all day
invention
long.
was, color TVs became affordable around that time.
What were some of your favorite TV shows back in the day?
Oh gosh, a lot of TV shows they actually started or they premiered in 1965. One of them was Get Smart.
That was so much
Uh,
fun.
yeah, Green Acres,
Oh yeah.
uh, F Troop, remember
Yeah,
well, I don't know, do you remember F
I
Troop?
do. I didn't watch it too much, but yeah, it was
Oh, yeah.
funny.
There were a lot that was so funny. Hogan's Heroes, I'm sure you remember the Monkees.
Oh, the best. Yeah, I love the music, and they were just so goofy and funny. I
"Hey,
love
we're the
them. Yeah.
Monkees." Yep. That Girl
Oh yes,
with
Marlo
Marlo
Thomas.
Thomas and that
Yes.
awesome hair.
Yeah, loved it.
And, Lost in Space.
Yes, I. That's how I got my name, Penny. It was
Penny?
Penny's my fake name, obviously, but out of the whole cast, like I had to choose from either Judy, the older sister, who's the blonde, or Penny, and Penny was always smart. She wasn't scared. She was strong. So I said, I'm gonna be Penny. And when we would play Lost in Space, I was always Penny, and it
You're
just
always
kind of stayed.
Penny, yep. And you're still Penny.
I'm still Penny.
And all that comes with that.
Yeah. Thanks.
Smart, funny,
Oh, thank
brave,
you.
all that. I loved I Dream of
Oh,
Jeannie.
yes, she's so gorgeous and she's still gorgeous. And I
Oh
wish
my
I had her
gosh.
powers.
I wish I had her powers.
Yeah.
And it premiered in 1965 in black and white the first season.
That's right.
Yeah.
I
And then
remember
it went
those.
to color after that.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's great because she had to play the evil cousin too. Remember?
Yeah.
And then
Hmm.
the thing I didn't get that
Major Nelson?
Major Nelson, thank you. See, so he didn't like that she had the powers. I mean, I would have loved that, but he was always trying to like, say, no, don't do that, don't do that. It was sort of like Bewitched, same
Hmm.
concept, right?
Yeah, Bewitched. Yep. Bewitched. I don't understand. That was Darren who
Yeah,
was,
right, right,
I
right.
don't know, like, what? So, I guess maybe societal norms. I don't know.
I would have
Beats
loved it.
me.
I would have been like, yeah, let's do this and do that. But that show was
Yeah.
actually started in 1964, I think, Bewitched.
Yeah. So
And
that's an
then,
honorable mention
yeah,
would be
yeah.
shows from 1964, starting with Bewitched and Gilligan's Island,
Love that. Love that.
uh, the the Addams Family.
Yeah. Monsters was almost like, yeah, it's almost
Oh,
the
I
same kind
love
of,
the Munsters. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that was so funny. I used to watch those shows with my family,
Oh, yeah, a lot of
and
fun.
that was wholesome TV,
Hmm.
and it was a lot of laughs. Of course, we weren't born yet in
True.
1965, and those were brand new shows.
Hmm.
So, can you imagine watching those in 1965
Yeah,
for the first time, and how
great.
funny it was, and
Yeah.
then still funny
Today.
watching years
Yeah.
of reruns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's great. Another show, believe it or not, that started in 1965 is Jeopardy. And it's
and
still,
Jeopardy.
yeah, and it's still around today.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that's been around for a long, long
A
time.
long time.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Mhm, and they come up with new questions all
Yeah.
the time.
Yes, they do.
I
Yeah.
marvel at the contestants and how they come up with those answers to those obscure questions.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. I mean, I can understand if it's their specialty, but it seems like they know such a wide range. I don't know how, they do it.
It must be a type of person that can
Retain all of
remember,
that. Yeah.
retain all these trivial facts.
And
Um,
recall them all
yeah,
in
that's the
a
thing.
split
I would never
second.
win.
Yeah. Yeah, they can recall in a split. I would need something to remind me and then be like, oh, yeah, but no, these people are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in the world of show business, in 1965, the Grammy Award winners in music was the record of the year, which was "The Girl from Ipanema,"
Great song.
um, with Astrid Gilberto, who was the singer, and Stan Getz. The album of the year was Joao Gilberto and Stan Getz for the same album. The song of the year was Hello Dolly, performed by Louis Armstrong. And the best new artists were the Beatles. So,
Yay.
so that was the beginning of the Beatles being known worldwide.
Beatlemania,
Yeah.
all that.
When you win a Grammy, you've arrived, right?
Yeah, it's insane.
Um, and in the world of the movies, the Oscars in 1965, the winning Best Actor was Rex Harrison for My Fair Lady. The Best Actress was Julie Andrews for Mary Poppins, and the Best Picture was My Fair Lady. So,
Yeah, yeah, those are good movies. I remember my mom taking me to see Mary Poppins at Radio City Music Hall,
mhm.
and she took me out of school like maybe a half an hour early. But then
Aw,
I know during the movie, I wanted to go home and watch Lost in Space.
you had zero appreciation
I
for
know.
that effort your
I
mom
didn't
made.
want to miss Lost in Space of all things. My mom took me to the theater, everything. She's like a mother-daughter day. No, that's
Mother-daughter day, got out of
So,
school
so
early.
unappreciative, you know?
Uh,
Oh man. Well, sports was a big deal back then as well. The World Series, the baseball World Series, the LA Dodgers won over the Minnesota Twins,
okay,
amazingly. So football was just football because the Super Bowl wasn't invented until 1966,
that's
the
right.
next year.
So that's how we know how old we
Hmm.
are based on the
Yeah.
Super Bowl,
Because we were born
whatever
in
that number is.
1966. Yeah. Unfortunately.
The numbers are getting bigger and bigger every year.
Hmm.
How about in basketball?
Oh, well, the Boston Celtics, they beat the LA Lakers.
Oh, poor
Oh,
LA.
I know.
They're the biggest rivals in basketball, I think.
One of them,
Even to
yeah.
this day, yeah.
Yeah. They got a lot of enemies. And how about boxing?
Boxing, Muhammad
Yeah.
Ali defeats Sonny Liston, and I remember listening about the Sonny Liston, from the Munsters. I don't know why, but they seem to
Really?
have mentioned sports stars that were, big in the day
Oh,
because
wow.
boxing was really big in the day.
Hmm.
I don't think it's a big deal now as it was back then. Because I remember my dad always watching the fights and going to see the fights.
Mm.
And so boxing was a big deal, and I remember, I think Herman was having a bout with Sonny Liston in one of the episodes. I could be wrong.
We'll have to look that up. That'd be
If
really
it weren't
funny.
for the Munsters, I
Right.
unfortunately would
It's
never have heard of him.
educational.
We all know who Muhammad Ali is, I
Yeah.
think, but,
Hmm.
um,
Cassius
he's very
Clay.
famous.
Yeah.
Cassius Clay.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, that's a little tidbit there.
That's great. So, how much did things cost back in 1965? It's
Oh,
such a
the cost of
stark
living?
difference. Yeah.
Let's see. Well, we went on amortization.org to compare 1965 to 2024 money. So let's see what the differences are. And for inflation, based on when I made this research, which was, I think, 2 months ago, uh, which I think 2 months ago was what, May? Back in May, maybe even earlier.
Hmm.
Um, but the salaries and wages, the minimum wage in 1965, and this is according to a Google search, was $1.25 an hour. So you multiply that by a 40-hour work week, that's $50 a week. That's before taxes. In 2024 dollars, $1.25 is 12.29 an hour. And that would be approximately $491 a week.
Crazy, crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the median income was about $6,900, 6,900. So in today's dollars, it's $67,800.
I don't even make that.
I know. It's just, yeah, it's really a big, big difference. And but get this, the CEO back then, they made $843,000.
That's a lot of money
It's a
even
lot. Even
today.
today, I mean, if I was making that much today, that would be a lot too. So I'm really shocked about that.
In today's dollars, in 2024 dollars, based on what we looked at, that's over $8 million a year. So that's times 10
Hmm. Hmm.
pretty much.
Hmm.
So I don't know which CEOs, maybe that's the top CEO that made the top money in the top company. I don't know.
It's a huge difference
Yeah.
compared to
Yep.
minimum wage.
So, but that reference came from CNBC.com. How much money CEOs have earned over the years. So, and we'll link all these references in the description so that way you can look it up yourselves. And that's
It's
based on what
interesting.
we looked up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Average price of a home was $20,000.
If only.
Yeah,
A car
it's
isn't even that anymore.
yeah, and houses are out of control now. The house prices.
Yeah,
So
we're
it's
going through
really.
some serious inflation right now. The interest rates are pretty high, which is making house buying, according to the news anyway, pretty stagnant and slow.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
How about groceries? groceries back in the
Groceries,
day?
well, I don't know. I'm looking at this and I'm wondering how is some things affordable and some things way expensive. A dozen fresh eggs was 53 cents for a dozen, but if you translate that to today's dollars, that's $4.38 for a dozen eggs. Remember earlier this year when we scoffed at the price of eggs, which were about that amount of money?
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
And so I can't imagine if paying the price of eggs 53 cents, how expensive that could have been considered back
Back
then.
then.
That's you would think that that was not a luxury
Right, right. And then
item.
sliced bread, 21 cents. So now it's $1.74 in today's dollars. But actually, I went and bought a loaf of bread the other day. It was like $5
Eesh.
for a loaf of bread.
You remember when a loaf of white bread was 99 cents or
Hmm.
less?
Yeah,
Like 80 cents,
something like that.
something low, and that wasn't that long ago,
Yeah,
really.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, and then they've gone up tremendously.
mhm,
How about a pound of bacon?
mm. Well, I don't eat bacon, but
Well, for those who love bacon, it was 81 cents for a pound,
mm,
which is today's dollars is supposed to be $6.69,
hmm,
which is par for the course, really. That's more or less how much bacon does
it's
cost.
about the same.
About the same. So,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
a pound of steak, round steak, was $1.08 a pound,
Hmm.
which in today's dollars is outrageously high. It's almost $9.
So that was a luxury back then. Eggs were a luxury, I
Steak,
guess.
yeah, steak, anybody that had a steak dinner, they were a high roller.
Well, steak and
They were rolling in the
potatoes.
money. Mhm.
Yeah, steak and potatoes. Potatoes were for 10 pounds was 94 cents
Yeah, which is, almost $8 in
today.
today's money.
Mhm.
10 that's par for the course really for 10 pounds 'cause, um, 5 pounds of it is about $4
Hmm.
today. So
Okay.
it's pretty much still a little high, but not out of this world,
Mhm,
which probably is why everybody was so thin back in those days.
mhm. They couldn't afford to eat like, well, also they
Nah,
didn't have junk food back
nah,
then.
that's true, it was all a treat on special occasions and things like
Yeah.
that. So and then a half a gallon of milk, which I don't think people bought, uh, milk by the gallon in those days. I think it was by the quart or by the pint or something
Mhm.
like that. But the equivalent of a half gallon was 53 cents,
Hmm.
which for a half a gallon of milk in today's dollars, that would be an outrageous
Yeah,
$4.38.
that is a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh,
kids were encouraged to drink milk back
yeah,
then.
yeah. Oh, I have a fun fact that I just
Mm,
remembered. You know how milk used to be delivered, and stuff like that? Well, back in the day, there was no expiration date on the
mm.
milk cartons. And Al Capone, the gangster, his niece got sick off of spoiled milk. So
Ah,
he's the one that made it where they have to put an expiration date on the milk. So we have him to
fascinating.
thank. Yeah, we have him to thank for that. A gangster.
Who'da thunk it? Well,
Yeah.
hey, if that was the price to pay to put, expired, label on there, you know, the whoever was responsible was lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a good implementation there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure it wasn't I don't know if pasteurization was a common in those
I'm
days
not sure. I
for
I
those
mean it
for
still
that delivered
spoils.
milk.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean it would still spoil, also if it's pasteurized, but I guess
Mhm.
they just kept it in the fridge till it was gone. But
Yeah.
people didn't know it could spoil
I guess they the quantities that they received were so
small.
small
Mm-hmm.
that it probably lasted a couple of days,
Mm-hmm.
and they got a delivery every couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, anyway,
Interesting stuff.
yeah, it is. That's what our parents had to go through.
Hmm. They were in their prime, and
They were
this
in
was
their
their life.
prime. Those
Yeah.
were the headlines. Those were the things that were happening. major events, and when they went shopping, that's how much they had to spend. So you know that they had to budget quite a bit.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. And back
mhm,
then, I think people could live on one income.
mhm.
It was affordable. Now you have two incomes, still not enough. People have two jobs. It's still not enough sometimes.
Still not enough.
Yeah.
The prices keep going up and up and up, but the
Yeah.
salaries aren't going up as high as
Yeah.
the prices.
Exactly. I noticed
Yeah.
that. Well, thank you for watching our retro episode. 1965 was a great year. If you like this, please like, subscribe, like, everything else. Thank you for joining us.
Leave a comment.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.